All right, guys, so the next project is called Philo, and it's basically like a Dropbox type SaaS landing page. And this is probably my favorite project of the course. And we're going to be writing a bit of JavaScript because we have this light mode, dark mode switcher. So you'll see if I click it, it changes the whole website into light mode. All right, and we're going to be saving the setting in local storage. So if I put it on either mode and I leave the website or I close the browser and I come back, it's going to be saved. In fact, I can show you real quick. In local storage, we have color theme, it's set to dark. If I click that, it gets set to light, and that's going to stick no matter if we close the browser or not. All right, and as far as the layout, we have the header at the top, and then we have this hero section, this little swervy image right here. That's also going to change. So basically we have two separate SVGs, one for light mode, one for dark, for both that and the logo. And then down here we have the features section. I can click on this and it will scroll down smoothly. Same thing with testimonials. Takes me down to the testimonial boxes. We have this little area here as well, and this get access form and the footer. And then everything stacks nicely. So you'll see everything is stacked on top of each other, and then we have the logo in the middle and then the menu underneath on small screens. All right, so I think it's a pretty cool project. I know the JavaScript is a little outside of the course, but I think you guys will like it. Also, the dark mode switcher, it was inspired by this Free Code Camp article. So we're going to get into this and take some of the JavaScript from this article when the time comes. And if you want, you can just copy and paste it, but I am going to type it out and explain everything I'm doing. All right, so that's it. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so we're going to get started on setting up our project and setting up our config. And we have something that we haven't done yet in our config file, and that's create some custom classes through there. So let's open up website projects, and I'm just going to copy Simple Tailwind Starter into that folder. And then we'll just rename that. And we're going to call this Philo, F-Y-L-O. And then I'm going to open that with VS Code. All right, and we do have some custom images that we need. So let's go ahead and open up the Tailwind course projects. And I'm going to go to all project assets and then Philo, and we want to bring these images in. So let's bring those into the root. We want to copy those. All right, so now we have that, and we might as well just open this up and run it. So down in the terminal, I'm going to run npm run watch. Okay, and then we're going to open the index.html with live server, and we should just see our h1. All right, so as for the config, we do have some colors to add. So I'm going to go into extend, let's say colors, and I'm just going to grab those. Paste those in. Okay, so for the font family, I'm going to have two fonts that we're going to work with, Railway and Open Sans. So let's go under colors and say font family, and let's do Sans. And in here we're going to have Railway, sans serif. And then I'll just copy that down, and we're going to change the name of this stack to Open Sans. And for the font, we'll say Open Sans. All right, now this is something different that we're going to do. We need to have some background images, such as the logo, that are going to be, we're going to have two separate images depending on if we're in light mode or dark mode. If I switch that, this image is now different. See how it's black, and then on dark mode it's white. We're also going to do that for this curve right here. See how it's dark? If I go to light mode, then it's going to be light. So if we look in the images folder, you'll see that I have two images for BG Curvy. We have dark mode and light mode, and then also for logo, I have dark mode and light mode. So what I want to do is in here, I want to be able to have BG classes that we can use to insert those images. Up to this point, when we use background images, we've been just putting it right in the input CSS, just doing background image. But we can actually go in here and we could say background image, which is the property, just in camel case. And then we can set this to a function, and this is going to return an object, so we can't just use curly braces here. We have to put it inside of parentheses. And you can even pass your theme object in here if you want to use that for anything. But basically, we're going to set a class that we can use, a BG class. We don't have to actually put BG dash in here, but when we use the class, we do. So for this, I'm going to call it logo dash dark dash mode. And then what I want that to do is load the URL or load the image. So here I'm going to use double quotes and then just do a URL with single quotes and do .. / images / and then we want to point to the logo dash dark mode SVG. Okay, so we're going to load that image for that class, and then I'm going to copy this down, and we're going to do the same thing for the light mode. So logo light mode, and then let's do the same thing for the curvy images. So I'll copy this down twice, and this first one will make the dark one. So the image name is bg-curvy-dark mode. That's the name of the image, the file. And then the name of the class is going to be just curvy dark mode. So yeah, let's get rid of that. Let's say curvy dark mode. And then this one is going to be curvy light mode. And the image is called bg-curvy light mode. All right, now, like I said, I want to have one image for dark mode, one image for light mode. So what we want to do in order to use the dark variant, like in order to say dark : and then whatever logo bg logo dark mode, in order to do that, we have to add a variance object. So we're going to say variance, and in here we're going to extend, and we want to extend for background image, and then we can put an array of variants. We just need dark. Okay, so we just want to pass that in there. All right, so that's all set. Now I talked about dark mode back in like the sandbox sections, and just in case you didn't watch those, I'll just explain it real quick. So let's say for this H1 here, let's go to this. Let's say I want to say dark : and I want to use, let's do a bg-black if it's in dark mode, and then I'll say dark, then I want to use text white. So I'm going to save this, and you'll see that it actually takes effect. The reason for that is because by default, when I say dark, it's going to look at my operating system's settings and see if I'm in dark mode on my Mac, or if you're on Windows. I'm not sure how it works on Linux. I don't use Linux really for anything but servers. But it's going to look at the operating system. However, I don't want it to do that. What I want to do is have it look at a class on my HTML element. So I want to make it so if I have a class of dark, that will be dark mode. If I don't, then that will be light mode. So to have it work like that, we just simply add here dark mode, and we set it to class. Tell it that we want it to look at that class. Now if I save it, notice it's not in dark mode anymore. These aren't working. So if I want it to be, I would simply add class up here and set it to dark, and now it works. So the way the toggle will work is we'll have to add some JavaScript to dynamically set this class, to set and remove this class, to put it in dark and light mode. All right, so just wanted to explain that for those of you that may have not have watched that section. All right, so we'll close that up, and now we just need to get the fonts. So let's go to Google Fonts, and I'm just going to remove everything I have here, and we want to look for Railway, and we're going to grab the 400 regular, the regular 400 italic, and the bold 700, and then let's get Open Sans. And we're going to grab 400 and 700. Okay, and then we'll just grab this. Let's put that right here, right above the style sheet, and save. And there we go. And we'll just change the title here to, I guess we'll say Philo Philo website. All right, so in the next video, we'll start to work on the header.